Barbara Holland. Barb Holland was Nancy Wheeler's best friend and one of the earliest victims of the Demogorgon in Stranger Things. Barb's death occurs in season 1 during the party at Steve Harrington's house. After reluctantly attending with Nancy, Barb sat alone by the pool, uncomfortable with the situation. While opening a beer, she accidentally cut her hand, unknowingly attracting the Demogorgon. As Nancy went inside with Steve, Barb was left outside. Suddenly, the Demogorgon appeared and dragged her into the Upside Down. Trapped in the alternate dimension, Barb was unable to escape. Her death was later confirmed when Eleven, using her psychic abilities, located Barb's lifeless body in the Upside Down. Eleven showed her surrounded by the eerie, vine-like environment of the Upside Down. Barb's death showed the immediate danger posed by the Upside Down and how the Demogorgon hunted its victims. It's also served as a turning point in the story, pushing Nancy to investigate the strange events surrounding Hawkins and the disappearance of others. Despite her brief time in the series, Barb's death is one of the most memorable events in Stranger Things. Benny Hamond. Benny Hamond was one of the first victims in Stranger Things, and his death set the tone for the series' darker themes. Benny was the kind and compassionate owner of Benny's Burgers in Hawkins. He stumbled upon Eleven after she escaped from Hawkins' lab and found her stealing food from his kitchen. Rather than turning her in, Benny showed kindness, feeding her and trying to understand her situation. Benny suspected Eleven had been abused or abandoned and immediately called social services to help her. However, this act of goodwill ultimately led to his tragic demise. The call was intercepted by agents from Hawkins' lab who were searching for Eleven after her escape. Posing as a social worker, one of the agents arrived at Benny's Burgers under the disguise of helping Eleven. As Benny prepared to explain the situation, the agent coldly shot him, killing him instantly. The agents then searched the diner for Eleven, who managed to escape again. Benny's murder was covered up as a suicide, adding to the lab's long list of unethical actions. Benny's death was significant because it highlighted the lengths Hawkins' lab would go to protect their experiments and secrets. It also introduced Eleven's desperate situation and showed the moral contrast between ordinary people like Benny and the agents of the lab. Benny's brief but impactful role remains a reminder of the show's high stakes and the danger surrounding Eleven. Bob Newby. Bob Newby was a loving and selfless character introduced in Season 2 of Stranger Things. As Joyce Byers' boyfriend, Bob provided a sense of normalcy and support to the Byers family. Known for his kind-hearted nature and positive attitude, Bob quickly became a fan favorite. Bob's death occurs in the climactic events at Hawkins' lab. After the group discovers that Will is being controlled by the Mind Flayer, they flee to the lab only to find it overrun by Demodogs. Trapped inside, the group devises a plan to escape. Bob, ever the problem solver, volunteers to reset the lab's power system to unlock the doors and allow everyone to get out. Despite his lack of combat skills, Bob courageously takes on the dangerous task. Bob successfully restores power and unlocks all the doors, allowing Joyce, Hopper, and all the others to escape. However, as Bob prepares to leave, he is ambushed by a pack of Demodogs. They attack him viciously in front of Joyce, who watches in horror but is unable to help. Bob's death is both brutal and heartbreaking, as his final act of heroism ensures the safety of those he cared about. Bob's death left a significant emotional impact on the show. It highlighted the high stakes of dealing with the Upside Down and demonstrated that even the most innocent and good-hearted characters were not safe. Dr. Alexei. Dr. Alexei, a Russian scientist, quickly became a fan favorite for his quirky and endearing personality. Despite being one of the minds behind a machine attempting to open the gate to the Upside Down, Alexei was more fascinated by science than politics. He left the Hawkins group after being captured by Hopper and Joyce, but then formed a heartwarming bond with them. Alexei's death occurs during the 4th of July celebrations at the Hawkins Fun Fair. After providing critical information about the Russians' plans and helping the group understand how to shut down the machine, Alexei begins to embrace the joys of American life. He enjoys carnival games, corn dogs, and a rare sense of freedom. However, his happiness is short-lived. Grigory, a Russian assassin sent to eliminate loose ends, spots Alexei at the fair. In a brief but shocking moment, Grigory shoots Alexei, leaving him to die alone in the crowd. When Murray finds him, it's too late. Alexei succumbed to his wounds. His death is a heartbreaking moment as viewers had grown attached to his innocent charm and enthusiasm. Alexei's death highlights the dangers of crossing the Russians and reminds viewers of the dangers in the show. Billy Hargrove. Billy Hargrove, introduced in season 2 of Stranger Things, was a complex character who evolved from a violent bully to a tragic hero. Known for his aggressive behavior and strained relationship with his stepsister Max, Billy's story took a dark turn in season 3 when he became a pawn of the Mind Flayer. Billy's death occurs in the season 3 finale during the battle at Starcourt Mall. Throughout the season, Billy is possessed by the Mind Flayer, who uses him to build an army of the Flayed by infecting others in Hawkins. Under its control, Billy is both terrifying and tragic as he struggles internally but cannot resist the creature's power. The possession strips him of his humanity, but glimpses of his inner conflict appear when Eleven dives into his mind and uncovers the trauma of his abusive childhood and his love for his late mother. In the final confrontation at Starcourt Mall, Eleven reminds Billy of his humanity, showing him memories of his mother. This moment breaks the Mind Flayer's control over him. In an act of redemption, Billy sacrifices himself to protect Eleven, Max, and all the others. He stands between them and the Mind Flayer's physical form, ultimately being impaled and killed by the creature. Billy's death is one of the most emotional moments in the series, and his sacrifice highlights his redemption. This shows that despite his flaws, he was capable of love and heroism. For Max, it's a devastating loss that deepens her character's arc in season 4. Billy's tragic journey and ultimate redemption solidify his place as one of the most memorable characters in Stranger Things. Chrissy Cunningham. Chrissy Cunningham's death in Stranger Things Season 4 is one of the most shocking moments of the series. Introduced as Hawken High's popular cheerleader, Chrissy initially appears to have a picture-perfect life. However, it quickly becomes evident that she is struggling with inner demons, including an abusive mother and a battle with body image and anxiety. Her vulnerability makes her an easy target for Vecna, who is the new villain of the Upside Down. Chrissy's death occurs in the first episode of Season 4 and sets the tone for the season's darker and more horrifying narrative. While searching for relief from her mental problems, Chrissy meets Eddie Munson, who is the leader of the Hellfire Club. Despite their different social circles, Chrissy and Eddie form a brief but heartfelt connection as she seeks drugs to help numb her pain. While at Eddie's trailer, Chrissy begins to experience terrifying visions caused by Vecna. She sees distorted images of her mother and other horrific hallucinations, all orchestrated by Vecna as part of his psychological torment. As Eddie watches helplessly, Chrissy is lifted into the air and brutally killed. Her limbs snap in unnatural directions and her eyes are gouged out, marking the first of Vecna's victims in Season 4. Chrissy's death is pivotal to the story. It introduces Vecna's terrifying methods of killing and drives Eddie into the central storyline as the suspect in her murder. Her tragic end also demonstrates how Vecna preys on those suffering from mental and emotional trauma. Though her time on screen is brief, Chrissy's death leaves a lasting impact on the series and serves as a very horrifying moment in the show. Dr. Martin Brenner. Dr. Martin Brenner, also known as Papa, was one of the most enigmatic and controversial characters in Stranger Things. As the head scientist at Hawkins National Lab, Brenner was responsible for the unethical experiments that led to the creation of Eleven's powers and the opening of the gate to the Upside Down. His obsession with achieving scientific breakthroughs came at the cost of morality, often exploiting children like Eleven as test subjects. Brenner's death occurs in Season 4 during the assault on the secret lab in Nevada, where he is helping Eleven recover her powers. Despite his manipulative and morally gray nature, Brenner believes he is protecting Eleven from the dangers of Vecna and the Upside Down. However, his methods, including forcing her to confront painful memories and treating her as a tool rather than a person, only reinforce his flawed character. In the climactic attack by military forces on the lab, Brenner is mortally wounded while trying to help Eleven escape. As he lies dying, he begs Eleven to forgive him, claiming everything he did was to protect her. Eleven, though visibly emotional, refuses to give him the closure he seeks, leaving their complex relationship unresolved. Brenner dies alone, and his actions and legacy cast a long shadow over Eleven's life. Brenner's death is significant because it closes the chapter on one of the show's central figures. While he remains a deeply divisive character, his final moments highlight his complicated role as both a villain and a father figure to Eleven. His end also serves as a turning point for Eleven, who steps into her own strength without his influence. Brenner's impact on Stranger Things is undeniable even after his death. Eddie Munson. Eddie Munson's death in Stranger Things Season 4 is one of the most heartbreaking moments in the series. Introduced as the leader of the Hellfire Club, Eddie quickly became a fan favorite for his rebellious yet kind-hearted personality. Though Hawkins labeled him a misfit and a troublemaker, Eddie was a loyal friend and an unexpected hero who stood up for what was right. Eddie's death occurs during the epic battle against Vecna in the Upside Down. As part of the plan to distract the Demobats, Eddie and Dustin lure them away from Vecna's lair with an electrifying guitar performance of Metallica's Master of Puppets. This scene is one of the most iconic in the series, showcasing Eddie's bravery and flair for theatrics. While the Demobats overwhelm their defenses, Eddie makes the ultimate sacrifice. Rather than escaping with Dustin, he chooses to stay behind to draw the bats away to buy time for his friends to finish the fight. Despite being outnumbered, Eddie fights hard but is ultimately overpowered. Dustin returns to find Eddie gravely injured. Eddie reassures him that he's finally done something meaningful, proving to himself that he's not a coward. Eddie's death is devastating for fans and the characters alike. His sacrifice not only saves his friends, but also cements him as a true hero. Despite his tragic end, Eddie's courage and heart leave a lasting legacy in Stranger Things, making him one of the most memorable characters in the show. His final act reminds viewers that even those seen as outsiders can rise to greatness when it matters most. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.